So one thing that I just want to address at the beginning, if you follow me on Instagram, then you already know this most likely, but I did end up getting rid of the Q3 and going back to the Q2. Now this was, it may seem like a weird choice, but I bought the Q3 in January for two reasons. One, I wanted a 2-camera setup with the FX3 and a Q, but I wanted my non-cinema camera to be able to do video as well. And obviously I was locked in with Leica, loving the files and the user experience. So with the Q3 being able to film an L-log, I thought that would be a perfect matchup. I have nothing against the Q3. I absolutely love it. And in an ideal world, I would have both the Q3 and the Q343. But when the Q343 came out, I saw it as an interesting opportunity. I personally love buying cameras. And I enjoy testing out different cameras. They push me and help me grow as a creator. And I'm fortunate enough that this is my full-time job, that I'm able to invest in cameras for my business. So I decided to sell the Q3, pick up the Q2 as a temporary downgrade, so to speak, or a sidestep, to then partially fund the purchase of a Q343. That way it wasn't too big of a hit to the wallet. So I just pulled over at a trailhead. I'm losing light quickly. The sun sets in like 40 minutes, but because we're in the canyon, that's gonna go, it's obviously already gone. But I guess I'll just talk about why I got the Q343. Now the main thing is obviously that I wanted to try this camera out. I'm fortunate enough that this is my business, so it's an investment in my business when I buy a camera. And I was very intrigued. I've pigeonholed myself into using 28mm for the last year and a half since I picked up the Q2 for the first time, and that's all I've used. So I wanted to kind of branch out, and the M11, the M series didn't interest me whatsoever. I love the Q series and how it's laid out and how it's set up, and obviously I love autofocus. So it sounds kind of crazy when I say it out loud, but using the Q2 or Q328, whatever it is, and pairing it with the Q343, I think that that's just the perfect combo. And that's what I think, so I want to put that into execution and actually see if it is the perfect combo. Obviously right now, we only have the Q343, but in normal situations like this, I would be taking both of them and switching between both. I don't know how realistic that is going to be, but obviously time will tell. I don't actually know where to go. It's like in the movies where it's like, one way's really spooky, that way's a little overgrown, there's people over there. So I like this, I'm gonna photograph this. I love a classic trail shot, and the nice thing about Leica, pro tip, Leica, if you own one of these, please shoot wide open. Whenever I tell people that I do all of my landscape work, my lifestyle work, it's all wide open. 1.7 on the 28 and f2 on the 43. Leica makes their lenses to be shot wide open. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna create some really nice separation. I'm gonna focus on the path itself, because where that focus point is, that's where the viewers, oh, I thought I saw a mountain lion, oh my goodness. That's where the viewer's eye is gonna be drawn to. So let's have a look. I come into the mindset, I've been so focused with 28mm, no pun intended, for the last almost 2 years. And going to 28 pushed me as a creator, just having 28 for all that time. And this is doing the exact same thing. This is now pushing me even further because now I'm having to think completely differently, which is interesting because this is what our eyes kind of see every day as a focal length. But when I'm approaching photos, I'm stuck in 28. So this has been a breath of fresh air. Okay, so I've actually spotted, I'm gonna bring you guys into the bush real quick, a really nice patch of trees through there. Not sure if you can see that. Right there, glowing. So I'm gonna try and take a picture of those real quick. So I definitely feel that I do have some bias to the Leica Q series. When I got the Q2 a year ago, it fully breathed a breath of fresh air into my creative process, and I was able to utilize the Q3 when I upgraded to that the first time in my creative work professionally. To kind of see if it was the right fit for me, I started to use it for client work, and it was actually really refreshing. It kind of pushed me a little bit more and made me look at things a little bit more creatively and just take my personal branding and client work to the next level. So I'm definitely interested to see if I'm able to utilize the Q343 in a similar way as I did with the Q2 and the Q328 in my own client work. Now, speaking of client work, I just want to take a minute to talk about Artlist's new artboard feature, which has been incredibly beneficial to my own planning and preparation for my video client work. Artboards are a super effective and time efficient way to curate assets for your own projects. Artlist utilizes AI from your own prompts to generate music, video effects, and even footage that can help you in your preparation for your own video projects. Whether it be personal projects or client work, Artlist has you covered. It's super intuitive. You're able to play around with the suggested assets, mix and match different footage with music and sound effects until everything just clicks and your idea comes to life. This has been really crucial with my own creative process, particularly with my client work, as I'm able to put in my creative briefs in the description box, and then I instantly get back a ton of different music, sound effects, and footage ideas based on the concept that I had. And personally, I absolutely hate scrolling looking for music, so this has been a time saver. This just takes out a ton of the legwork and headache of searching through different audio tracks and sound effects, and just lets me kickstart my creative process. Check out the links in the description if you want to learn more about Artlist's artboards, and you can also save yourselves a bit of money if you decide to sign up with those links as well. Okay, so we're actually back out again. I just went on a canyon drive because I wanted to round out this video with just a little bit more photos. So I went up the Alpine Loop, and this trail, my favorite trail, is now open. It's been closed for 2 years, and I wasn't expecting it because they still had rose-colored signs. Well, just kidding. Looks like they just moved the closed sign further up. Gosh, it's so annoying. But this is kind of cool. So I'm gonna take some photos right here. Pop up the lights. I'm gonna have to turn the car around because the rear end of the car is probably my favorite, although the pop-up lights are sick. The tail end, when it's like in frame, it's kind of imposing. So I'll grab that as well. Okay, so a lot has changed since the beginning of this video. Sorry, Lucy would like to make an appearance. You want to hop up next to me? Okay. So, all right, Lucy. To get right to the point, the Q343 is not for me. I kind of had a feeling this was going to happen, but I like trying out new cameras, and I've made some of my favorite photos recently with the 43. But I've been trying to figure out who it's for because I want this to be educational, and the thing that I can't wrap my head around is the fact that the Q328 can do everything the Q343 can do, just not as good. It's like 90% there, if that makes sense. Obviously, the Q343 is APO glass, so it does have less chromatic aberration, but it technically isn't sharper. And the Q328 is very sharp. Hell, even the Q2 is very sharp. Now, obviously, this is 47 megapixels rather than 61, or whatever it is, 62, 60, something around there, in the 3, 28, and 43. So you have more croppability with the Q3, and that's kind of the point that I'm trying to get across. Unless you want the user experience and that shooting experience of seeing it in 43 millimeters in the viewfinder, then just get the Q3 28, because you can crop in incredibly well. And I've shown time and time again in all of my Q2 and 3 videos, I've shown how well these can crop. And it's more than just cropping with these cameras. Something that Leica have done with the lens and its rendering and its color rendition and how it pairs so nicely with the sensor. When you crop, it is more than just cropping. I've said that already, but I've done comparisons with, you know, A7R5, Canon R5, and the Q3, Q2 looks way different. It doesn't look like it's been cropped. It literally looks like the quality has been retained. So just to reiterate, if you want that 43 shooting experience, you don't want the frame lines, then get the 43, but you just know you are pigeonholing yourself. And that's what I love about the 28, is that it gives you so much more versatility, because you can go wider than 43. Obviously, it's you know, it's really obvious here. And I've talked with a lot of other Q owners, and we all kind of just don't really understand the appeal to the 43. Now, I know it is a very sought after focal range for street photographers, but even still, the 28 can do it. But just, you know, just it's not fully there. But in the end, it's not much difference that we're talking about here if you're cropping in. So all in all, it's a fantastic camera. I've made some really cool photos that I absolutely love, but it's gone. And the Q28, currently with the Q2, is what I'm rolling with. And I know a lot of people have called me out saying, hey, I thought you said the Q2 was going to be your main camera for 2024. Why did you get the Q3? Well, I'm back to the Q2. I mentioned that in the beginning. Biggest message: don't buy a camera based on a creator's thoughts. Take those into consideration, but, you know, buy a camera because it's what you want and it's what you enjoy using. So honestly, it doesn't make sense for me to recommend the Q343. I think just get the Q328 if you have the budget. It's much more flexible, and 28 millimeters is just such a kind of golden focal range, in my opinion. And cropping from 28 to 43, you're not losing that much resolution. So in the end, it's really minuscule, the difference between the resolution of these two options. So hopefully this video has been somewhat educational, inspiring, whatever. If you have any questions, then just drop a comment down below. And as always, I'm always open to DMs on Instagram at JohnnyRoams. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.